All right, to further unpack this, let's now welcome political analyst Professor Sethulego Matebesi from the University of the Free State. As of course, we look ahead at the ANC's National General Council that starts from tomorrow. Professor, it's such a great pleasure. Welcome to SA Today. So many challenges facing the organization, right? From their promised renewal campaign to root out corrupt members and leaders to internal factions that continue to persist, as well as a serious question in terms of where they are positioning themselves as an organization in matters of leadership of the country. Where do their answers lie to these questions? Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, Alicia, and good afternoon to the viewers. It's a lot, and I mean, if you are a leader of the African National Congress who clearly has the interest of the party at heart, I can just imagine what the emotional turmoil that such individual leaders has to go through and the frustrations that they face in an attempt to ensure that this particular party will be able to take the opposition head on. But if you look at all the challenges that African National Congress faces, that will be a tall order.
Look, the matter of leadership, specifically, Professor, and members of the party that keep being reassigned to various other posts within the organization, even after wrongdoing, what is the message that the party is sending by constantly adopting the stance that they simply will not hold their members to account?
Yeah, well, it's a stop and go, and we're sitting with a situation where every 5 years, we are in this particular situation, even within the African National Congress, where some members, even if the ANC Secretary General came out guns blazing to say they haven't yet opened the election race for the new leadership, but we already know that there is another faction within the African National Congress wants to see the back of their current president. And it's these kind of issues that I strongly believe that the ANC needs to start dealing with them. Long-term planning to say an organization more than a century old, yes, there should be contestation within the party for positions. I mean, that's, if you look at the footprint of the organization, that is, it's obvious that it's going to happen. But fact of the matter is there's other aspects that I strongly believe that they need to manage. And one of those things is to manage all these internal struggles, strife within the party. And once they've managed to do that, and it doesn't mean they will be able to deal with all the factions and infighting, but at least all these major, they need to deal with that. And I think that for me will be a starting point. But the problem is, as you have spoken about, consequence management. Remember, if most leaders are tainted, so it's very difficult to take action, or at least to lead or take the baton in terms of moral and ethical leadership when you yourself as a leader is also tainted. It becomes very difficult.
Absolutely, Professor. I mean, speaking of those open secrets, right, there's this conundrum. I know the party has consistently tried to dispel or downplay the notion that the current factions have been exacerbated by the fact that some members actually blame the decision of the formation of the GNU, and this has further ruptured relations, casting doubt on Ramaphosa's leadership. Yet we understand this is set to feature quite broadly on the NGC agenda. What are your views specifically in regards to whether or not there will be discussions around the removal of Cyril Ramaphosa at the helm of the ANC ahead of course, the next general elections?
No, definitely. I don't think it will be an item on the agenda. Remember, the Cyril faction is still the strongest faction within the African National Congress, and I can't see that they will agree to that particular item, because even it's not even about Cyril Ramaphosa, it's just that it's not the right time to open that up, and I can't see how that will become part of the discussions going forward. But yes, there might be, in general, just discussions about how leaders should be careful not to open the, leadership race before an announcement have been made. But we've seen this on numerous occasions where each time there will be pronouncement made, but then the leaders, some members will also decide to take a completely different route, and they will already taunt some and pound for certain leaders, and that for me is unacceptable. And it has huge reputational damage for the African National Congress, as their eye will be cast on all these battles, whereas they need to start casting their eye on how they will be able to make some inroads come the next local government elections.
But this is a persistent factor then with that is associated with the organization, Professor. I mean, the serious matter is that the party had undertook to strengthen branches and verify and fortified support, right? Yet recently we know the proceedings at the Gauteng Elective Conference saw delays due to, as we understand, according to reports, certain branches that were disputed and couldn't even vote or partake in the processes. I mean, as we've rightly pointed out, the LGEs are coming, and this is a stage where the party should be reflecting on how they implemented strategies announced after the elections had worked or failed, and how to catch up in time for the elections, where they are continuously losing support in metros and even at ward level.
No, it's very commendable. You've got a party where members are allowed to express their views. Its so-called democratic principles are upheld within the party. But if you look and you closely analyze what is happening within the African National Congress, if you are an ardent member at a certain branch, at a certain level, you only become important in as much as you closer and support the so-called dominant grouping.
True.
The moment you become vocal, they isolate you. And that is the irony of this whole matter. Because, I mean, a couple of months later, you will want the support of each and every member of the African National Congress who should go out, be foot soldiers, to go and advocate and advance the image of the party. But yet you've already trampled them. And that's why I say the ANC, it's not in competition with the opposition. They are in competition with themselves. And I strongly believe after election and election, it seems as if they do not learn the lesson. And why do they not hit some of the lessons that comes out of these elections outcome? It's just because I had to garner whatever I can within 5 years, and I don't care what happens to the long-term effects and implications of my actions. And that is unfortunate for me, the political landscape, the political dynamics within the African National Congress. The ANC is bleeding, and it is being bled day by day by its own members.
Wow. Wow, very well said, Professor. Thank you so much for the insightful debate there. Professor Sethulego Matebesi on the ANC NGC and what the party should, of course, be reflecting on ahead of its NGC that starts tomorrow.